Welcome to 1301 Collingwood. I'm Tom Kundig, the architect. This location is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me professionally and personally. Not only was I working for a friend, but I was working for a friend on an unbelievable site over, of course, one of the most unbelievable cities in the world. So for me, this location on the side of a hill, on the overlooking Los Angeles down below us, was for an architect. I could explore those things that what houses are all about. Houses are about prospect, houses are about refuge. And this house is everything about that outer edge of prospect, looking out over the view, but also about the refuge and how to become intimate, how to become close, and how to sort of be protected. The question of how to sort of open this building with its doors and windows becomes a technical question also, because we're trying to grab that big landscape out there and bring that into this house and through the house into the garden. You have to make relatively large moves, if that makes sense. So making large moves is actually a technical issue. So with gearing and motors and sort of interlock systems, we're able to, in a sense, not magically, they may seem magic, but it's actually just hard work to sort of assemble a system that basically uses gears, uses hydraulics, uses motors to basically open and close this place to the landscape and the garden. Everything about this house is about finding your way easily around all aspects of the house. And in a way, the house is a house of doors and windows that open and close to this landscape. So the entry door is just simply an introduction to how you enter this house of house and windows that open and close magically. On this main level, the challenge, but also the opportunity, was to do a home that felt like a home, but also could expand in a sense to engage large groups. So the way the main level works, it's a series of open rooms between each room. So if you are in one area, you feel comfortable, you feel intimate if it's just one or two of you, or three or four. But if it expands, it easily expands, and everybody can kind of see between these spaces, both inside and outside. Hopefully everybody recognizes these pools are very much intended to be almost the invite to that big expanse, that big view off in the distance, to go out to experience that edge on the hills overlooking the city. It's a way of literally extending the experience, that somewhat exciting experience of getting to the edge of something. And in this case, you're in the water, you're actually swimming out to that edge. Anytime you're working at this level for a home like this, the large bedroom becomes a very important part of the experience, because in fact, in a way, it's the most private and the most sort of special and intimate. So it is planned in the building to sort of take that leading edge, and in this case, literally that leading edge, almost as if you're in a treehouse overlooking the hillside and overlooking the city, and of course overlooking the horizon line. The garage and theater are both share that same sort of ancillary space that supports this main level. The garage, I think the capacity of the garage is 4 or 5 cars, and it is indeed a place where the cars take a special situation. There's a little furniture group down there. There's a huge door that opens into the slot car is in the property, and so there's a story about automotive. The automotive culture here in Los Angeles, which I think is really important, because in fact those cars are sculptures, those are art pieces, and you begin to sort of experience them with guests. The fireplace devices or gears or gizmos, whatever you want to call them, are in fact operable. They're manually operable. There are counterweights on either side of basically a wheel, and you can very easily lift a relatively heavy screen up. So it becomes a functional device, but it's also a poetic device, so you can see how physics works, which is exactly what architecture is about. Architecture is about the functional and the poetic. And these lights are in the spirit of the house. They're basically just like the house. You can modify them depending on how you want to use them. Do you want to use them more in a more intimate setting? Maybe you use half of this table, or you use the whole table but you bring it down low. You can also raise it up if in fact you want to use sort of a larger table group. This table is actually on wheels also, and it's part of my accessory line. And what it allows you to do, it allows you to move it either towards the garden or out towards the view. Again, it's just in the spirit of the house, being something that is flexible, morphable. You can choreograph how you use this house all day long if you want to, or for an event. The shutters are also intentionally a functional and poetic device. Basically, they are functional. In fact, what they'll do is they'll mitigate solar gain. In the down position, they take out about 50% of the solar gain into the interior. That's obviously an energy saving strategy, but it's also a glare saving device, so that when the weather is perfect, the situation with the sun is perfect, you can then open these devices, which are on an electric motor, and they become overhangs for the house, if that makes sense. So in the vertical position, they filter the light, and in a horizontal position, they actually are shading the light to the interior. Los Angeles is all about indoor and outdoor situations and the capacity to change those depending on what that situation is. Southern California is a paradise, a climate paradise. So if there's a way to keep the promise of indoor and outdoor, I'm going to try to do that. And this house is all about breaking that indoor-outdoor relationship. So perfect day like today, you can literally just drift from the very edge to the inside. This place breathes its environment. I hope you enjoy the tour of this home. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me to work on this property in this city.